I always heard about underrated YouTuber. I always heard about, oh my God, how do you not have more views? Like, okay, that's great. That's fantastic. Tell your mother then, and have her come by and see my channel.
Hair out of my nose. Hair out of my nose. Eating a pear like you know God, give no care.
By the way, just to let you know, do a $5 minimum for those things because your community will devastate you with those. I did one day, $2 for a Bean Boozled. Never again.
Oh
Never again.
Oh God. That's not gonna be fun. Oh!
It's very easily said than done, but it's the moment that you can tell yourself and stop caring about what other people think about that you will see a tremendous light open before you.
So welcome to the very first episode of Behind the Streams. In here, we're gonna talk about streamers' issues and streaming stuff. And the first guest is HealPleaseHeal. So HealPleaseHeal, what kind of name is that? I mean, where did it came from?
I don't know. So I paid some guy to give me a name, and he gave me that name. No. So HealPleaseHeal. A lot of people know me as just obviously an individual that likes to bring a lot of happiness, a lot of positivity to streams and everything of that nature. So a long time ago, I actually had another product by the name of Mind of Carnage, and it was a wrestling news site. At the time, I was a very big fan of wrestling, and I watched weekly, close to almost daily, and started doing news recaps, this, that, and the other. But I was also a huge fan of gaming, and I was really starting to become a fan of these Let's Plays that you see on YouTube, and I wanted to do that as well myself. The problem was that when I started actually integrating in from my wrestling news site to my gaming platform, I kind of used the same identification as the Mind of Carnage. However, because it was two different industries, I really needed to kind of go somewhere else. So a long time ago, my buddy of mine, we were playing Diablo 2, and Diablo 2 wasn't really a multiplayer game. So primarily we would have one section that he would play. Then when he gets the next section, I would take over and I would play. And for the most weirdest of reasons, whenever we were in battle and our life was low, we would creepily whisper to each other, "Heal, please heal." And I don't even understand why. I'm not even going to get into the whole psychological reasoning as to why we were doing that, but we were weird kids. So for some reason, that Heal Please Heal always stuck with me. So when I started rebranding, like decades later, when I started rebranding and trying to think of an image and trying to think of a name and trying to kind of identify what I wanted my gaming channel and my gaming product to be and look like, at least for the time when I'm starting, the whole Heal Please Heal just kind of popped in my mind again. And again, this was something I've always had in my mind for God knows how many years. Because the biggest thing that I wanted to deliver to individuals and the value that I wanted to bring people is to laugh. And the thing that I always have said, and I will always say it to this day, is that laughter is a universal form of healing for every single individual in the world, no matter where you come from, no matter what breed, no matter whatever you are. So it is a universal form of healing. So the concept behind Heal Please Heal is laugh. Just please laugh. Like, that's the concept there. And that's the value I try to bring to the actual streams when anyone watches, is laughter, because I find laughter is definitely going to help you progress and get you through horrible times and dark moments and this, that, and the other. And overall, it just gives you a good moment to remember throughout the day. So primarily when I did my my rebranding, that's when Heal Please Heal came into effect, and I pretty much just ran with it. And this is where it is today, and I'm extremely proud for it.
Yeah, that's so good, and it suits you like so well, because every time that I came to your stream and everything, you are like a healer. And
Thank you.
yeah, it suits you so well. And how long have you been streaming?
I have been streaming consistently for about 3 years. I'm actually going to be hitting my third year in February 12th, I believe. Will be my 3 years consistent streaming. Not like 9 to 5 that I'm doing now, but it was just more along the lines of the time I decided to actually just start dedicating more time to streaming. Before that, I did content development for about, I'll say 2 years, 1.5 to 2 years. And that was just kind of learning the YouTube game and trying to figure all that stuff out. But that's pretty much how long I've been in it for the time being.
Mm-hmm. And you started out, you said, from YouTube, right?
Yes. Yep.
And what did you do over there? What did you do on YouTube?
So again, it was the whole thing of I enjoyed Let's Plays. So the biggest issue, and I still kind of find the issue today, is identifying what's best suited for my YouTube brand. I'll tell you something right now. When I switched to Twitch, you know, I've grown more in Twitch than I have in my multiple years of doing YouTube, which I still do today. The thing is, when I first started doing YouTube, I did a lot of, again, Let's Plays. So I did a lot of games that were not popular, but it was more along the lines of games that I enjoyed. You know, Don't Starve was one of them. Last of Us was another one. Rimworld was another one. Just a lot of games that I kind of did enjoy, and I wanted to kind of record and play, and hopefully people would enjoy and get a lot of value out of it. The problem with Let's Plays, and specifically when you're doing variety games, is that there's so much of an abundance out there. It's really hard to kind of set a tone and set an image for yourself. So for me, YouTube in itself was always a journey. I always heard about underrated YouTuber. Or I always heard about, you know, oh my God, how do you not have more views? Like, okay, that's great. That's fantastic. Tell your mother then, and have her come by and see my channel. But it was one of these things where it was enjoyable to make videos because you got a different skill set out of it. And it was one of these things where you kind of learned how to kind of adapt yourself in the gaming market. But I found over a period of time, I just wasn't being able to identify who I was or what the product was or what the brand is and what specific value brought people back. I had these dedicated viewers here and there, but it wasn't growing. Do you know what I mean? And to this day, I still have a difficult time doing that. However, I started transitioning more towards streaming, and I found being able to communicate with individuals live rather than communicating with them via like a message on a video was extremely different. And I found the live aspect of it to be a lot more rewarding and a lot more intriguing and a lot more enjoyable. So I did some live streams on YouTube, and then I transitioned to Twitch because I considered myself, I'm like, okay, I'm going to kind of focus on YouTube as doing my uploads, my videos, that and the other, and then Twitch is going to be my live streaming section. And that's pretty much where we're in from there. And since then, you know, I've dedicated my YouTube to just Sea of Thieves. I actually have two other YouTubes that I have right now, like two other YouTube channels, one of which I'm actually fully rebranding, and I'm doing another idea that I'm going to be kind of debuting soon. And then I have another one that's for my wrestling league that is specifically and dedicated for that, because being able to talk to a lot of individuals who have been in the industry for a long period of time, one of the biggest things they told me is that if you're going to go stick with YouTube and you're going to do videos for YouTube, be consistent. Stick with one thing, because the reason is a lot of people will follow a certain channel because of that one thing. And then if you start veering off and doing different things that are away from that subject, that game, anything of that nature, then those individuals are going to be like, well, this channel really isn't for me, and they'll leave. So it's very hard to grow a channel. I'm not saying it's impossible. People have done it, but it's very hard to grow a channel that's so abundant everywhere. So that's why ever since I stuck to Sea of Thieves, my YouTube has been growing, getting better. I agree with that. But I find Twitch has always been my bread and butter, and it always will be my bread and butter.
Yeah. I can totally get it. But have YouTube helped you on Twitch?
Yo, 100%. 100%. One of the reasons why it helped on Twitch is because it made me get used to that. The camera is one of the most intimidating things. A lot of people really don't want to go live because of a camera. A lot of people don't want to go live because it's very hard to kind of get words to come out of your brain to actually make an enjoyable conversation. YouTube helped me tremendously in identifying exactly how to speak to yourself while at the same time giving entertainment to those who watch you. And the biggest thing about that is that obviously when you're doing a YouTube video, you are recording a video and you're legitimately talking to yourself and the future audience that's going to see that video. So it really kind of taught me a way to keep my brain functioning and asking questions or thinking of words to be able to continue a conversation in my mind. Like thinking of a simple word of car. Okay, well now I can go into a story or talk about how I had my very first car and how it was fantastic. And the fact that one day during the highway, I actually got stuck in the middle of the highway because my gas line decided to break on me. There's moments and times where, you know, a lot of individuals will have fantastic great cars. They'll start to the top of the line and all of a sudden they'll just kind of crap out. And those individuals who start at the bottom of the line, those cars will last for 20 some years. There's moments and times where, like, you know, the fact that like mechanic repairs are so expensive. I recently had to pay $4,000 just for like tire replacements and everything of that nature. But the thing about that is when a simple word can now spiral down many conversations. And one of the biggest aspects, specifically when it comes to streaming and YouTube content development, is asking questions to get interactions with the audience. And I found YouTube helped me tremendously with that, because it allowed me to kind of flex and really work my brain to say, okay, if it seems a little quiet right now, here's a word you can use, kind of go from that. For YouTube, it's like, okay, I have this scene. I feel like I've been quiet for a very long period of time, and the thing with YouTube is you cut quiet spots. So you cut many quiet spots on the YouTube channel, and then you go to another point where you're having a conversation, or you're talking, or you're trying to bring some value to the actual viewers. So I found it was very good to learn that structure and that method of thinking while recording a video, and looking back while editing that video and saying, okay, that was pretty interesting there. I see what I did there. I'm going to take that in mind. I talked about that in there. I'm going to take that in mind. And it kind of allowed you to review yourself and see, because there were moments and times when I saw a YouTube video and I was like, man, I'm too quiet. I'm like, this conversation doesn't really go anywhere. Like, what am I even talking about? There's many of those, because guess what? When you first start out, it's difficult. Some people can be extremely talented in camera. Some people can be extremely talented on the mic. It just depends on how you are. And not everyone's going to be a professional at once. You know what I mean? So a lot of these things, when you start doing YouTube, when you start doing streams and everything of that nature, understand it will get easier with time. Specifically for the microphone, specifically for that camera, it will always get easier with time. And it's just something that you're going to have to give yourself. And I think that's one of the best things I think YouTube helped me tremendously with, is with the camera and the microphone. And being able to adjust volumes of your voice, make your voice exciting. How can you get your voice exciting? Except it's very different, specifically when you have someone who's starting out and they're very monotonous like this. I'm really excited at what happened there. Super excited. But again, YouTube allowed you to be able to do that, look at yourself and actually see how you're interacting with yourself, what facial expressions you have, how is your voice volumetric, and pretty much it shows you there when you're reviewing the video, hey, okay, that actually sounds pretty cool. I like when my voice does that. I got to focus on that. So it helps tremendously. And I do recommend individuals actually check out YouTube and just do some videos, review yourself, edit yourself. Hey, I don't like to listen to my own voice. I really don't. However, it is interesting to see how you've adapted. And I can go back to like videos that I the very first video I ever have on YouTube, which I think I actually deleted the very first one. So I have one, but it was very, very early. And it's just, it's cringeworthy. It's cringeworthy, that's for sure.
I thought I saw one of you without a camera, and I was like, was he without a camera at the very first times?
Oh yeah, I didn't have a camera. Mm-hmm. I did not have a camera. When I first started YouTube, I did not have a camera. I had a very, how can I explain this? A very, very cheap mic. Think of just like a carrot, extremely thinned out on the table. And what I used for a boom, like a little thing to condense the actual sound in a boom on this extremely cheap mic, was one of my socks. That is where I started.
Oh,
all right? God. That is where I started.
Brilliant, though.
And it worked. It worked. Because the thing is, it was an extremely cheap mic. So when you pop, like, it really, like, it kind of hurt your ears. You're like, oh, God, this is very sensitive. So the sock, and I twisted it a couple times. I put it on the mic, and it worked, surprisingly enough. It was the most ridiculous thing ever, but it worked. And then I got into the headphones with the microphone in it, and then that's when years later, that's when I got my Blue Yeti mic, which is my USB mic, and that one was just mind-blowing, like a huge improvement. And then later on, I got my whole Blue Crew membership, or I'm sponsored with Blue and everything, and they went XLR and everything of that nature. So it's really funny to see how far you've come to where you are right now, and specifically in some of these like quality features when it comes to audio and video. So it's humbling. It really is humbling to see how far you've come. But that's how I started.
And imagine all of us watching our very first video when we went live or anything, and look at
God.
it now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, like, actually even the camera that I use, I remember actually looking. So I did there was a game called 9mm. 9mm I think was one of the very first games I really started using my camera more heavily. So you had like the camera there, it was on me, but like it was a very old Logitech camera. And the problem with this camera, one, is I didn't have good lighting in any way, shape, or form. The only lighting I had was above my head behind me. And it didn't really work well for me at all. And the camera in itself was not smooth as you see this camera being. That camera, my God, you did this, you literally saw like 100 hands. Like it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But again, it goes from like, I used what I had, you know what I mean? The biggest thing that I always tell people, specifically when you're content development, the number one thing you need to focus on is your audio. Audio is 100%. People will watch you if your audio is on par. They will not watch you if the video is on par and your audio is crap. It's just how it is. That's actually how it's been shown. There's people who have done actual like reviews and questionnaires and everything, and people always prefer audio 100%. It's much more easier to but much more easier to listen to, because a lot of times some people will just want to listen to you, you know what I mean, not watch. So, but yeah, it's interesting to see how far you've come and like the little tricks you had to do to kind of make it work better.
Yeah, definitely. And so many platforms that you're on, and so many pieces of content you're making, and also a day job.
Yeah.
How does that go up with your life? I mean, how is your daily routine? Having a job and streaming at the same time and creating content for other platforms. How do you keep up with all of that?
Married as well. That's a job in itself. No, don't tell my wife that. So it's not easy. The thing with me is I was always raised with the understanding of roof over your head, food on the table. So for me, my job is always priority. Until streaming can replace the monetary value that the job gives me, job is always priority, because that is what puts the roof over my head and food on my table. And same thing with my wife, like for my wife as well. So it's like it puts a roof and food on our tables. It's not easy. I am very lucky though. I am gonna make this very clear right now. I am extremely lucky. I have an office job, and my boss is actually very, very good with allowing me to do my streams while I have my laptop on the side to do my 9 to 5. Not many bosses are like that. And the benefit here is that he understands what I have as a side business, and that's fine as long as it doesn't affect my normal job and I don't slack on it. And that's 100%. I agree with that. I accept that. Now I have nothing to complain about that. I get paid full time to do my job at home while at the same time I'm doing streaming. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I have a very simple way of doing that's just me. I have this very simple job that allows me that accessibility. Not many people have that. Before this whole pandemic, I was going to the office. So I was actually out from the house from 9 to 5, or 9 to 6, whatever it was, because obviously travel time and stuff. That was difficult because there's a lot of time and prime time there that I am not able to stream. And the thing is that after the job, I would come home and I would stream 7 p.m. to like 10 or 11 or whatever it was, because that was the time I had accessible to me to be able to do that. And while I was at work, obviously doing my job at work, I would then still one thing that I will say is that if you ever have the accessibility to continue working on your product wherever you are, I highly recommend you do it. Because when I was at the office, I would be active in communities, I would visit streams, I would work on graphics for myself, I would work on schedules for myself, I would work on new content that I wanted to make, scripts that I wanted to generate. There was a lot of stuff there that I would still be able to work on my content. And to my honest surprise, I thought to myself one day, I'm like, okay, no, there has to be a stop to this. There's never a stop. You're always working on something. Just understand that. But that is what creative minds do. So you find a way to still be able to do something. Even if you're at work and you're not at an office job and you're doing something and you have to like physically do stuff, this, that, and the other, take your phone out. If you ever have an idea, take your phone out, record yourself. Say, we're gonna do this this notice here or whatever. Like, that's a horrible example, but you know what I mean. Like, utilize this as well, because this in itself is a fantastic tool to help you. If I'm out somewhere, I open my memos up and I write something down if I have an idea somewhere, because you never know when an idea will pop in your head. So for me, when it came to my job, I utilized my time as best I possibly can. As I stated to you now, whenever I have a stream, because I decided with the streams I have right now is I'm utilizing the exact same time I would if I was at work. So my streams now are 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. While at the same time, I also have my 9 to 5 on the side. And if anything should ever happen there, I tell chat, hey, I got to check my emails. You guys got to give me a second. I'm still interactive with chat. However, I'm actually just doing something for work on the side. But if there's a moment in time where I have like a very large project, which I recently did actually in the beginning of the year, I had a very, very large project that I had to quote, I had to spend a lot of time on. I pretty much said, hey, I'm not streaming for the next 2 days because I got to work on this. Just plain and simple. I try to do work, obviously, after stream, but after stream as well, there is a lot of doing stuff for stream and the product and the content and doing this and making a YouTube video, making clips. There's a lot you got to do. And it's not easy. And if somebody says, yeah, content development is easy, it's so simple, like I get 200 viewers here and then the other, you're lucky. That's all I got to say. Because 98% of us don't get that. You know what I mean? 98% of us still have to go through the work that we have to put in to be able to get our product and our brand out there. And that's something that I think is a lot of people really don't realize, which is ridiculous because I've talked to a lot of people who think it's just that easy. Yeah. A simple snap of your fingers is I'm going to get famous. No, no, not at all. Specifically when the brand and the product right now is so oversaturated. I can't tell you how many times I've told someone, what makes you different? And they're like, well, I like to make people laugh. And I'm like, that doesn't make you different at all. What makes you different? You know, tell me what makes you different. And it's a very hard question to answer. I'll be honest, it's a very hard question to answer.
So what makes you different?
Damn it, I walked into that one. What makes me different is my personality. And that's just plain and simple. That's what it is. Some people can say, you know, that's not really making you different. That's just kind of what you're using for you. Yeah, but you also have to understand everyone has their own personality. Everyone has their own way of thinking. Everyone has their own way of living their own life. And honestly, it's the time and it's the moments that you state to yourself that, hey, I'm better than you, watch me. And other times you're saying, hey, listen, I'm doing this. This is my personality. I want to give you something. Come on by, swing by. It's a safe environment for you. We have seen so many streamers, and you have seen them too, so many streamers that believe, hey, the world revolves around them. And this is what you need to do. You need to watch my stream and I'm the only one. And there are other individuals out there who are absolutely amazing individuals say, hey, let's actually make something for you to enjoy. And I feel for me, personality-wise, that in itself right there, you have some really over-the-top, ridiculous personalities who think that the world revolves around them. However, there are many out there who have fantastic personalities. So I can't give you a specific, hey, this is why I'm different. The only reason I can tell you is that I'm different because, one, my personality is there for the people. My personality is there for the individual watching. My intentions is for the people that are actually watching my channel right now. And my want is to give them a value, teach them something if need be, or actually be there as an actual light at the end of the tunnel if they ever have a bad day. That's what makes me different, in my honest opinion. It's hard to answer that question. I don't actually have a proper answer to that question. All I know is that myself is the reasoning behind why I feel I am different and why others feel I am different.
That's so true. That's so true. And being an entertainer and on Twitch and whenever you are presenting entertainment shows and stuff like that, a personality is highly needed. So what would you say?
You should know that better than anyone. You've been on stage several times.
Yeah.
You've got a personality with you.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, you might be losing even yourself and say, hey, should I do this or should I do that? And sometimes you're losing what you're doing and what you actually wanted to do and what you actually wanted to be here for. So it's very important to be your own self and stick to your plan.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like, there are some people who have gone completely just in character and have worked for them. I'm not saying it's never going to work for you. I'm not saying that it's being something else is not going to work. However, those are very rare occasions. Like, how many of them can you call? Like, there's a handful of individuals that are characters that are extremely large in the business. There are a ton of individuals who are large in the business because of their own personality. You know what I mean? And their own ways of seeing things. So, you know, I always find that personality is what will set anyone and everyone apart. And don't be afraid to hide behind that. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to be like, yeah, but he's being a character, or he's doing this, they're doing this, she's doing that. I feel like I need to amalgamate all of that together. It's like, no, just be you. You know, that's the best thing. Just be you. Because when you feel comfortable doing what it is that you're doing on stream, talking, everything of that nature, you're going to show a lot more. Oh my God, I can't think of the word right now. Of course, I'm going to blank on the word right now. you're just gonna be a lot more comfortable to do what it is you're trying to deliver. So of course, I forgot
Of
the word.
course.
There's a word in there. I will find that word by the end of this session. I promise you that. Confidence. I think that was it, but I'm not really sure.
Confidence is very, very important, though.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's also in itself very hard to come by. But
yeah.
that in itself takes time. You know, like for myself, I have been bullied my whole life. My confidence was shot, like absolutely shot. And there was just one day in my life I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of hearing people. I'm tired about me getting made fun of and everything of that nature. And I literally just said, I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I got made fun of, I'm like, yep, okay. I just didn't care anymore. I really didn't care. And that was the moment because then I realized that people would actually slow down or wouldn't come. If I didn't react, they wouldn't come at me. I'm like, okay. And then I started being a little bit more confident in myself. Like, well, yeah, like what the hell? Like, I'm being made fun of because I reacted to it. Now I'm not reacting to it. Oh, these guys want to talk to me and be friends. I was so confused, but I'm like, you know what? Whatever. It's very easily said than done. But it's the moment that you can tell yourself and stop caring about what other people think about that you will see a tremendous light open before you. It's very difficult, but I know it's doable. And I'll be honest with you, it does come with age. As I've grown older, I've been able to be like, I don't care. I'll think how I think. You don't like it, I don't give a crap. You know, go somewhere else then.
Yeah.
But you know, don't ever feel discouraged because that will come with time. That will definitely come with time. And if you can't get there, then try to listen, try to find people that actually invoke that feeling in you of being confident, and surround yourself with those people because that's one of the best things that you can do for yourself. Don't ever feel that having somebody there to give you support and also having somebody there to motivate you be a crutch, because in all reality, it's not a crutch in any way, shape, or form. It's a benefit to you. Utilize that.
Yeah. That's super, super true. So, would you say that in all of these years that you started streaming and everything, what was one of your biggest struggles? Like something that you couldn't overcome or something?
Well, I've never had a struggle I couldn't overcome. One of the biggest struggles I think I've faced and continue to face today, there are some days where I really do feel this, is the comparison game. Seeing somebody else and being like, oh my God, like they're doing so well, like that's amazing, you know, and then your brain's just like, huh, why aren't you there? It's like, I don't know. Should you really be doing this? I don't know. You know, it's your brain then starts going on the attack. The thing that helps you the most is like, hey, I'm going to put you down. No. So the biggest thing I think for me is definitely the comparison game. And a lot of people really don't see it in me because I'm like, I don't really try to dedicate or to try to tell to other people, I'm like, oh, like I'm kind of sad this person is doing so much better than I am, because in all reality, I'm extremely happy to see others succeed. I'm happy to see the one person that, you know, started at the same time as I did in streaming succeeding, doing better, having 3 times as growth as me, or double the growth, or whatever it is. I'm proud of that because I see that they're loving it, they're enjoying it, and that's exactly what I want. But at the same time, you get those kind of thoughts popping in your head, and it kind of demotivates you. And that's one of the biggest things I've actually struggled with and continue to struggle with. It's never going to be an opportunity where I'm like, oh no, I'm fine, I'm totally good, never affects me. No. And the biggest thing that I think a lot of people need to understand is don't be ashamed when that happens. Like, for one of the biggest things I do when I do get in those mindsets, because I do get into them, is again, I listen to an individual that highly motivates me. I put a podcast on with them. I listen to their words, and it really does get me motivated. And that just kind of takes me out of that. I look at the people that have affected me tremendously on the platform, in the stream, on the community. You know, I'm lucky enough to say that I've had individuals who have done complete paintings for me, like the little diamond painting thing. I don't know what they're referred to as, but they did a full painting for me. It took them days to do and sent it to me within a magnificent letter that just put a smile on my face and almost brought tears to my eyes. So it's on my wall, and that letter is actually taped on the back of it. I have 3 gold medals from Extra Life for the charity work that I do. I continuously remind myself, hey, just because you're not there, it doesn't mean you're not doing something. A lot of people have a tendency of getting in that comparison game, as do I, and really just making it, just allowing it to win. Do not allow it to win. Just because you may not be Just because you may not be where somebody else is, it doesn't mean you'll never get there. It may just mean you'll get there slower. And this is the biggest thing that I've learned, again, as I aged, is patience is key. Allow patience to be there. Allow yourself to just go with the flow, go with the actual, like go where the road is taking you. Sometimes the road will take people in the shortcut and they'll be at the fantastic highway of success. Sometimes we got to take the side roads and cross lines and go into different cities and looking at an individual who has a knife that you think is going to stab you. But no, listen, you just got to keep driving through it. Go past it. Those are the hard moments that we have to go past. And in all reality, those are difficult moments that will mold you and also mold your product. Sometimes situations like that will help actually build your product up a little bit more differently. You'll find that some things that you do are more entertaining, and sometimes you'll actually see that you're more well-skilled at this than what you originally thought. So patience sometimes can definitely mold not only your product, but yourself as well. And just have patience going through those times. You know what I mean? Like it's difficult. It really is. And it sucks to see the comparison game because like I said, I've been through it and continue to be through it today. So some days you have a really crappy stream because that happens. There's always ups and downs. But some days you have a really crappy stream. You raid someone and you look at your other individuals or friends on your list and you're like, God damn, they're all doing so much better. And then you look at your stats for that one stream that you may have had crappy stream or a couple streams and you're like, and then that's when it starts to eat at your grind. You got to find a way to identify when that happens and a way to identify how you can get out of it. It's the moment you start seeping and it's the moment that you start going down that rabbit hole that it just gets worse and worse and worse that you have to try to say, nope, I'm not going to listen to you. I see what motivates me. I see the things that I've done and how I've affected others. And that's exactly what I'm going to focus on. And you're going to progress from there. That's how I get out of it. And sometimes it works. Sometimes I need a day, sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I just need a day. Sometimes I get so demotivated. I don't work on anything. I don't upload anything. I don't post anything. I don't because I feel demotivated. Mm-hmm. It's allowed. Don't kick yourself if you feel that way sometimes. Just understand, don't let it take you over. Don't let it win. So have a day, have 2 days to yourself, and you'll see how you feel next day or next day following that, and just allow yourself to get out of it. But at the same time, allow yourself to remind yourself that you are not worthless, that you are not intended for this. You may just be getting there at a slower pace. That's all it is, really.
That's so true. Sometimes our mind can play tricky games, and actually our own enemy is our own head.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. It is your most creative asset, and it will make you or break you. Yeah. It is remarkable to see how it does.
Yeah, that's so true. And one of the things that highly motivates you, as you said, is also charity streams. And I know you've done a lot of them.
I've done quite a bit of them.
Mm-hmm. So how was your very first charity event? And how did you start out with all of it?
So I did my very first charity event 4 years ago. This is actually when I was in YouTube and I was still doing my Let's Plays. As I was progressing more towards my Twitch live streaming kind of aspect of the product, I focused more on obviously the Let's Plays for YouTube, but as well I started doing more live streams on YouTube. So I didn't really go to Twitch at this point in time, so I was stuck on YouTube, and I didn't have a huge audience. It was one of these things where I'm like, I had probably 3-4 people watching at times at best, you know what I mean? So I told myself, I'm like, disregarding that, I still want to help something or someone. So I started with Extra Life. I actually signed up with them, and Extra Life themselves are very much very regional. So like you can sign up anywhere and actually work towards charities for that specific region or whatever you want to work for. And I signed up with them to raise money for Sick Kids Foundation here in Toronto. They were trying to build a second hospital to help with obviously newer equipment, more nurses, bigger units. And I found that fantastic, and I wanted to help that as possible, right? So I told myself, I'm like, okay, well, let's just do a charity event. Let's just actually do charity streams. I announced it obviously on Twitter. I had videos about it. I pretty much had my charity event going. At the time, I was more heavily on Facebook. I'm not really heavily on Facebook anymore. I still have an account. I don't really heavily use it that much, though. but I was more heavily on Facebook, so I made an announcement on there, not tagging, but pretty much where family, friends, and just individuals I've met and I've connected with Facebook could actually see and say, hey, listen, I'm doing this. Can anyone help out? You know, at the time, I didn't have anything to give away. You know, I didn't have I think at the time I was giving away $20 gift cards for Steam and stuff like that, where I was like, okay, well, if whoever donates, I'm giving these as incentives to help out if possible, because sometimes people are incentivized to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think I had any type of like milestones, or I didn't have any type of incentives for anyone donating. I think I had maybe some little things with like drawing on my body. That was it. But it started off really small. I started off with a $500 goal for my first year. I was anticipating under $100 raised. That's exactly what I was anticipating. Starting off on streaming, set a goal extremely high. And I'm not really one to set goals, just because for charity is different. But just in general, I'm not really one to set goals, because if I hit them, I feel kind of, again, this whole demotivation type of thing, right? So I didn't really have it. However, the first one I did was $500. I didn't anticipate myself to make over 100. An individual whose family member and his brother actually was had a health issue, and sick kids saved his life. He came forward and donated $400, just $400 straight out. Oh, I'm sorry, $500, $500 straight out. Made my entire goal in one donation. I just sat there. I'm like, okay, everything else is cherry on top. I think we ended, I can't remember exactly what we ended. I think it was like $580 or $560. It really wasn't a lot that we made, like in addition to the 500 that he donated. However, I would have not been able to raise that if I didn't actually just go out and say, hey guys, this is what we're doing. You know, this is what I'm trying to work towards. I would have never raised that even if I didn't say to myself, hey, let's do a charity thing. So for me, that was the first time I ever actually raised money for an event, doing something that I really enjoyed, and that was streaming. And following that, every single year that's followed since, I have hit my goal plus. And this last year, or this last 2020, the last one we just did, I hit my most top I've ever met, and that was like 19 or 1800 and something. If I hit 2000, which our original goal was 1500, so we were going surpassing that. And if I were to hit 2000, I would have shaved everything, including the eyebrows. Let's just say I'm kind of happy we didn't hit 2000, because the next day I had to go somewhere. So happy we didn't hit that. But then again, I was kind of like, oh, it's a shame we didn't hit that. But that just tells me that's the next goal. That's the new goal for next year. So it's one of these things where you can see the progression that's happened. And that's Extra Life isn't the only one I've done. You know, I've done something for special effects. I've done something for Infant del Soliel, which was like a Quebec charity that was intended for sick kids as well, I believe. That was done through DreamHack. I've done stuff for Toronto Humane Society. I've done some with the Diana Award. You and I, Fairy, I've actually done that for Diana Awards Foundation. I absolutely love them. And we raised money for them. I've done quite a lot for charities, and I absolutely love doing that. And the reason why is because I don't care if I hit a goal. I don't for a couple of them I didn't hit my goals, and that's perfectly fine. I don't care if I don't hit that. All I care about is doing something that I enjoy, sharing moments with the viewers in the community to be able to raise awareness of one, a message that I want to deliver, or two, of a cause that I want to support. And that's always the most important thing, specifically when it comes to charity events, is do not dwell over the dollar value of how much you can raise. It doesn't matter if you don't even raise $20, $30. Who cares? What you're doing is you're doing something that you enjoy for a cause that you support. That is what you should really focus on. And just know that, okay, maybe this year you only raised $20. Hey, next year we're going to raise 40. We're going to double that. Next year we're going to raise that. Or you never know. If you manage that second year to raise 200, great. Holy crap. The following year, we're going to try to raise 300. You know what I mean? So don't feel ashamed just because one time didn't go your way. Even for me, like I said, I have failed some. I didn't raise money on some, but again, it's one of these things where you're doing something you enjoy for a cause that you support. So that's something you need to focus on. But ever since then, I've been on the charity bug. I like it. I don't know. I like it. I enjoy it. HealPleaseHeal likes to heal. Not in games though, because I'm complete opposite in games. I will let you die and run away with the potions. Just letting you know. Do not rely on me in games.
I can totally understand and relate to that. So there are so many people that are having like issues with charity streams. Like, first of all, they don't know where to start. And since Tiltify came into our lives, made things easier for streamers. But
Mm.
also, what would you suggest to start with a charity? I mean, do you need to reach out to the company that you want or the organization that you want to support? How would you choose the organization and everything?
Okay, so it's one of these things where see what's available in your region. Tiltify, I haven't really done a lot with Tiltify. However, I do know that you can create an account and go just see, hey, what is there? So they actually have like things that are running. There's words for I can't think of the word unfortunately right now. They have initiatives that are running
Yeah.
that are for a specific group, a charity, or whatever like that. So you can actually join any one of those initiatives whenever you want. You can also just go in there, search your region, and see exactly what is there that what initiatives are there that you can actually support. Extra Life is another very fantastic one where you can just make an account, go in, give your actual region that you're living in, and say, okay, well now you're living here. Well, then we can support any one of these foundations. So there's a lot that you can do specifically with Tiltify and Extra Life. I don't know any of the other ones because those are the only two I've really used. And to make it simplistic, we're going to stick with those two. But yeah, those are the two that I recommend you really just look into and see about doing. Extra Life does, they kind of have a game day where they do a 24-hour stream day that you're supporting your thing. However, their actual initiative is open for the full year. So that I always recommend just do the full year, spread money. Like how I do it sometimes, specifically if I'm going to do with Extra Life, is I'll have three or two. Actually, I think this year's I'm going to start going to 12. I don't really want to do the 24-hour streams anymore, but I'll do a couple of like 12-hour streams or 14-hour streams, whatever the hell it is. For the purpose of raising money for the foundation, you know what I mean? But I'll have a couple of those throughout the year where they'll be well spread out. I'm not doing them in quick succession because obviously you got to think about the individuals watching. They're not going to always be there monetarily to be able to support and give money over and over and over again in a very short period of time. But when you split it up like that, it does kind of help. Having good incentives, and don't be afraid to ask, because some content developers, like, hey, listen, like, do you by chance have anything? I'm doing this for a cause. I'm looking for incentives. Do you have anything I can help with? I've had people reach out to me that are doing obviously charity events, and I've given them free games. I'm like, hey, here, have a bunch of free games because I have those available to me. Do you know what I mean? So, and also with the whole, like for me with the Blue Crew, I'm more than happy to help somebody out with that. Obviously, a Blues win to help me out with that. But don't be afraid to reach out to other individuals like that. But yeah, just keep it simple. If you're doing this for the very first time, don't overthink it. Don't really concern yourself about the money. If you're really concerned about making a goal, then make a very small goal. You don't have to go ham on it. If you make a goal of $100 or $50 or something like that, and you go over that, holy hell, you've been over your goal. That's crazy. That's good. That's fantastic. That's motivation right there to keep you going. It's motivation to do this again. But it's when somebody starts, like the first time ever, they're doing a charity event, and I've seen this, where the first time ever doing a charity event, they want to reach $1,000. Like, okay, dude, like you hardly reached like 5 viewers. $1,000 seems a little excessive. Not trying to be rude. I'm trying to be realistic here. And yeah, unfortunately, the person only raised 40. However, he raised 40 still. You know what I mean? That was still a good amount that he raised, but he was demotivated and didn't want to do charity events anymore because of that purpose. So my biggest thing is start small. Don't overthink it. Have a small milestone, have a couple of little incentives here and there if you can. Again, don't be afraid to ask for those individuals that you've also followed and are actually not going to be like, oh, I don't want to help you. No, just ask, never hurts to ask. But then also it's one of these things where when you start doing the charity event and you have milestones and some incentives for, like, if you do a $1 donation, what do you get? $2, what do you get? Don't also overthink that. That can be very easily overthought of. Milestones, have a couple of them here and there. Like, for example, for myself, when it came to my last one and I wanted a milestone, my wife and I were just at one of we have this like really weird grocery store around here called T&M. So we went there. And it's a lot of foods that we don't eat. And I found these like weird, like really, really disgusting just treats around here and there, right? So I'm like, okay. And then my wife looks at them and she's like, these can be kind of a charity goal for you. And I'm like, oh my God, they can be. And it was disgusting, and it was a charity goal. And My community kept hitting them, and I hated them for it. It was gross. However, it's stuff like that. Like sometimes when you go out and about and you're shopping or something like that, look around. Sometimes you can find some goals and some concepts there. Or if, like I said, if you find something and you can't do it at that point in time, and you want to look up on Amazon, see if you can get it cheaper or something like that, write it down. It's stuff like that helps us tremendously. But don't overthink it. For me, some of the goals I have, I bought like a bunch of pages of tattoo sets. So if anyone does like a $2 whatever donation, okay, I got to put a tattoo on me. $10 donation, I'll put your name on me. I got the Bean Boozle. Bean Boozle is a fantastic one. Very simplistic, very not that expensive, pretty cheap. And hell, if you get, by the way, just to let you know, do a $5 minimum for those things because your community will devastate you with those. I did one day, $2 for a Bean Boozled. Never again. Never again. Literally got so sick. Never. I tasted like dirty socks in my mouth for God knows how many days. But yeah, just keep it simple. That's my biggest thing I can tell you is keep it simple. The only time you will really feel demotivated is when you put so much thought, so much power, so much integration into it, and so much overbearingness that you're like, this has to go well, this has to go well. That's when you're really gonna feel too nervous with it, and then it may go wrong. Understand, it's perfectly fine to feel nervous going into an actual charity event. I still feel nervous about going them to this day. However, the memories that come from that are fantastic. One of the biggest things I also try to say is step outside your box. Don't be afraid to just kind of leave the little box, the little area of where your comfort is, and try something new. Not many people know this. I have a body image problem. Like I don't like how my body looks. It's getting better because I do like how it is now. However, I still have a body image problem. I don't really like dancing in front of people unless I'm obviously with my wife and we're somewhere like a Christmas party or something like that. And there's a dance floor. Then my wife and I will fucking dance. But in regards to like dancing on stream, for example, I'm a little funky with that. However, one of the charity events that I had, I set a goal. Okay, if anyone donates $100, I'll do a dance party. Never did that before on stream. Okay, that was a lot of dancing that day. However, it was because many people never saw that. And they're like, okay, well, I've never seen this. Let's see what happens here. And they did it, and it was a memory. And I still have clips to this day because people will not delete them, and they're just saved somewhere on the internet. That's great. So there was also a goal where I had one where I was like, okay, well, if we hit this goal, I'm going to dress in one of my wife's freaking dresses.
Oh, my God.
She's 5 feet tall. I'm 6 feet tall. She's 5 feet tall. I outweigh her by about 200 pounds. Well, not 200, but like 170 pounds. Yeah, that was a fun fit. But again, very different, very unusual. I never saw it before, so they wanted to see it. I did ones where I had, for those of you, obviously Bob Ross, the painter Bob Ross. If you don't know him, please Google him. But I did that. My real name is Costin. I referred to that. I'm like, okay, we're going to do a Bob Cost session. So it was just literally me being in a Bob Ross wig, doing a painting, looking back at the camera and being like, it's so beautiful. Like, it's the most randomest thing ever. However, it was one thing that they never saw before, and it was out of my comfort box. I wasn't necessarily comfortable doing that, but by doing that, I found that it was really fun, really enjoyable, and really new, and people enjoyed it. So don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Even if you're like, okay, if we hit this, I'm gonna sing this song. It's one of these things. You may not be comfortable singing, but don't be ashamed to try it. You know what I mean? Don't be ashamed to give it a go. Step outside the comfort box. That's one of the best things, and one of the best moments where you can create so many memorable moments on your stream is when you step out of those boxes and you try something new, and you'll see if your stream likes it. So, okay, sometimes they may be like, let's not do that again. However, it is one of those. Like, remember that time I sung? Yeah. So let's not do that again. However, maybe one day we will do that again. But it's just one of these things where stepping out of your comfort zone does help. But my biggest thing, specifically when it comes to charity events, do not overthink. Do not beat yourself up if you do not make a goal. Do not actually try to tell yourself you don't want to do it because you're scared of not reaching a goal. Do it, because you never know what could happen. You never know who you could affect. You never know who could come to your streams. You never know the support that you may get. And the thing is that when you don't do something because of a fabricated idea that your mind tells you, then you don't know what may happen from that one simple idea. So it's just don't let your mind set you back because of assumptions. You know what I mean? Just do it. Don't be ashamed of it. Doing a charity event alone, not many people do them. Surprisingly enough, not actually many streamers do them. However, it's for fantastic causes. And even though you may be a smaller streamer with a smaller community, guess what? It's more ups on you for doing something when you have a smaller community and actually really trying to put a lot of power and energy into it, whereas a lot of bigger streamers don't. So you know what I mean? Like it's some people respect that, and some people will come from that and be like, hey, like I got so many times where my community is still very small, but you know I'm no fairy, but my community is still very small. But it's one of these things where I've seen many people come towards me and be like, hey, like, you know, I can't believe you're doing this, and it's a small community. And they're like, okay, well, I like this. I respect this. And they followed. I actually have one individual that that's been an extremely generous individual for my community. And I met him via this, and he's still around today. So it's one of these things is you never know what you can get out of this. You know what I mean? So it's just, don't be ashamed. Don't be concerned about it. Just do it. Just follow Shia LaBeouf. Do it, you know, just do it. Don't be ashamed about it. And if you ever need someone or an ear or anything to kind of motivate you through it, listen to somebody who motivates you, or hell, reach out to me. Fuck, I'll help you out. I got no problem helping out. I'm happy to see people doing charity events. That's exactly what you need.
Exactly, and Twitch is giving us this opportunity, this amazing opportunity to, even if we don't raise money, at least we raise awareness, and that's the best part of it. So yeah. Charities are 100%. Very, very important and very, very cool where you're doing them, even if you have a small community and everything. Yeah, they're so precious. Alrighty, so one last thing that I wanted to ask you is that have you ever felt like disappointed from something that happened in your stream and you wanted or crossed your mind to quit streaming or something?
No. I have never had a moment in my streaming career as of yet that has always been wanting me to quit streaming. And I don't know of any moment that I would actually have that. I'm going to be honest with you.
That's good.
It's one of these things where it's something that I enjoy. Like I've seen a lot of people who have done the whole quitting and I'm back, quitting and I'm back, you know, stuff like that. Fine, you don't know what you're doing. That's fantastic, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I'm not saying that streaming is for everyone. You know, it's one of these things where you have to understand your limitations. For me, though, I've never had an opportunity or a moment where I was like, man, I want to quit streaming. And I'm going to be sincere with you here, is that I've been somebody who has quit some things, like following a year or two. Me going on my third year and still absolutely loving this tells me that this is something that I very much absolutely love to do. And there's been so many people that I've seen. One of the biggest stresses for a lot of people, and I have seen this, is that going live button.
Yeah.
It is a big stress for people.
It is.
And I understand that it can bring a lot of anxiety. It can bring a lot of fear. It can bring a lot of just unknowingness. And sometimes a lot of people will sit at the PC, have everything ready, look at that going live and just like, not today. You know what I mean? It happens. And that's perfectly fine. It does happen. For me, if I have a stressful day, I want to say, I need to go live. I'm a complete opposite. Going live for me relaxes me. But don't get me wrong, if I have actually a very stressful day, I also understand and identify that sometimes maybe I just don't want to stream right now. I don't have the energy for it. It's very, like, unfortunately, I'm not really one to talk about that psychology of having a lot of anxiety over the live button. However, I know a lot of people who have massive anxiety issues and go live to be able to stop that, or at least deter that a bit. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If you do have massive anxiety issues, if you do not like talking to people, if you don't like being live on camera, this and the other, and you're trying to do this streaming thing because you want to help yourself and kind of break yourself out of that habit or break yourself out of that mentality, mad respect for you. If I had a hat on, I'd tip it down, because honestly, that is extreme respect for individuals who are trying to better themselves or trying to get out of that mentality by doing something that makes them scared and continue to do it. That is absolutely massive respect for individuals who do that. It's just not me. I just don't have that. And one of the reasons why is because I feel maybe because of just the things I've been in my life. You know, I did do entertainment wrestling for at least a year and something close to 2 years. I was very used to being in front of an audience. I was very used to having a mic in front of my hand, talking about other challenges back there, and, you know, competing in the ring and everything. I was always comfortable on this camera, and I've never not been comfortable on the camera. Like I've always been that. So for me, amalgamating that and utilizing the talents I learned for doing promos, and also just to let you know, for those of you out there who are very not comfortable talking on the mic, talk to yourself in front of a mirror. And no, it's not crazy to answer your own goddamn questions, but talk to yourself in front of a mirror, because in all reality, that has helped me tremendously. Not only in relation to being able to get my brain thinking, but also how you look, how you represent your face. What facial expressions do you have in the mirror? Because it's also one of these things where that's a full package when you actually have camera on. It does help tremendously. So talk to yourselves in front of a mirror. But it's things like that that's just, I think for me, has come so natural to me that this streaming concept is very natural to me. And again, it's the mentality also of, I don't give a shit what people think. You know, if you don't like me, if you come to my stream and be like, well, this sucks, then be like, well, get the hell out. You know, I don't care. I don't care what Jeff says in my chat. This individual that's never going to have any type of say in my life anyways. Why the hell should I care what he say? I don't care about what Sandra says, coming in here and being like, I find you're overly offensive. That healing potion doesn't look like it's happy with its life. Get the fuck out. Like, it's just, I don't care. That's your own goddamn problem. That ain't my goddamn problem. It's when you learn to not care about what people think. You know, that's just how it is. Now, obviously, sometimes there's gonna be some give or take. You know, when you have a veteran community member that decides to leave because of an issue at hand, okay, I can understand you being a little bit down about that. When a random individual comes in and starts saying shit, just be like, all right, have a fun day, get the fuck out. You know what I mean? I excuse my language. I apologize. I'm not family friendly. It's just how it is. Yeah. But it's one of those things where you just have to just learn to not give a shit about what people say. Go into it knowing that, you know, you're trying to do things to better yourself. But to answer your question, I like to talk. I will go on a rant. I apologize.
I love that you love talking. Trust me.
But for me, specifically when it comes to streaming, I've never had, and I really, really wish I will never have the moment where I say, I want to stop this. And I think one of the other big things too is understand and learn to identify when you feel burned out. That is a big, big thing. If you feel like you need to take time off, take it. If you feel like you don't want to do this or you can't do this, and you're able to identify why you feel that way, or ask yourself, why do I feel this way? If you feel like you need to take time off, do it. Don't let the naysayers tell you otherwise. Be like, oh my God, but if you do that, you're gonna lose viewership and you're gonna lose popularity. Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, you may lose 1 or 2 people, but those are not the dedicated people you want to keep. The dedicated people that will be like, hey, take the time you need, and we'll be here when you come back. That is a dedicated community you want, and that's a dedicated community I think you really need to focus on, because when you focus on individuals that you will not see again because you're taking time off for mental health, anything of that nature, those are not the people you want to keep in your life, plain and simple. So if you ever feel that you need to take time off, take the time off. Like if I feel like I want to take a day off, or I've taken a week off before, because I'm like, hey guys, listen, I need the week off. This is how it is. Hey, if you want the quality product from me, you got to give me my time.
Of course.
That's pretty much how it is. So learn to identify that. Like the way that Fairy does this, I'm going to give her a huge shout out. I absolutely love the way she does this. She has her seasons. She streams for X amount of times throughout the months and takes X amount of times off, because I love that. That is a great concept, and that is a fantastic way. And I highly recommend individuals out there that want to try to do that, do that. That's a great thing to do, because it gives you X amount of time to look forward to take a little break, work on your product, work on yourself, relax a little bit, and not stress yourself out. Because the problem is, so many streamers out there are like, I'm going to stream for 14 hours today, 16 hours, 7 days a week. Why? So you can do that burnout, and then the individuals that you have gained, you're going to lose them anyways. What is the point? Like, I don't get it. What is the point? Yeah. So, you know, learn to identify burnout. It's very apparent. It is very much there. And when you're able to identify it, you know, listen to it. If you need to take time off, take the time off, because you're no help to anyone when you're dead. You know, that's just how it is.
Yeah, that's true. And also, I feel like so many people are kind of excited. Like, I love streaming, so I want to do more hours and I do more days and stuff like that, without thinking this plan over a year or over 2 years and stuff like that. So I think that we might need to consider that.
Yeah. And my thing too is that for those of you out there who feel that way and are excited about it and you want to stream this and the other, don't stream. Take that energy and just take us past stream and make content. Make clips,
Yeah.
showcase clips, get your product out there, learn a new skill, see about learning a new skill on Blender, which is a free 3D animating software. Learn a new skill on, I think it's GIMP, which is the image software or something. Or if you have
Yeah.
Adobe, hey, look to see about learning Photoshop or Premiere. Teach yourself a new skill that will benefit that stream. Don't just think that stream is what I'm gonna do, and that's exactly what I'm gonna be able to get so many viewership than the other. Because it's true, over a year, you can't keep up with that. That will drain you, depending on how you are. You may not, may be, but you're not. If you're one of the rare few that just has, for some reason, diamond blood and you never sleep and you're totally good, great. For the rest of you, obviously normal individuals that are not superhuman or come from Krypton, take some time for yourself, or take the opportunity, if you are excited about your product and you really want to get more stuff out there, utilize the content you already have and start splitting that throughout multiple platforms to get it to different eyes. Because when you do stream, those different eyes may come see you. So that's the thing I want to take home there.
Exactly. I totally agree with you on that. So where and when can we find you, HealPleaseHeal? When do you stream? What's your schedule?
So right now, you can find me at twitch.tv/HealPleaseHeal. One word. Please don't put spaces in there. It's not me. You can find me 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. No, Heal. You don't know your own schedule. There you go, brother. You can find me 9 to 5, Monday to Thursday. 5 p.m. EST is when we stream on Fridays. That's our FWF. We do our E-Federation on there. And usually sometimes, depending on my accessibility with my fish tanks, I do a stream on Saturday for the fish tank stream. That's complete relaxation stream. Nothing happened. No notifications, no loyalty points or anything. It's literally me cleaning my tanks with relaxing music in the background, intended for you to take a moment and relax. But that's what I usually do. Those are my schedules. You can find me on YouTube at HealPleaseHeal. Just search HealPleaseHeal. Twitter, HealPleaseHeal. Instagram, Heal_please_Heal, because somebody else took that name. So, screw you. But yeah, you can find me, even TikTok. I'm on HealPleaseHeal there as well. Just search HealPleaseHeal. You'll find my face and just go where the face takes you. It's there. All right.
Just
Also, show
Google
your
it.
Show to your mom. Show me to your moms too. They'll follow me along. Don't tell my wife.
Alrighty, so I want to thank you so much for today. It was so many interesting things that came up, and I'm so glad and so thankful to this conversation. It was awesome having you in here.
Well, thank you very much for having me on here. And again, to those of you out there who are streaming, just know you can do it. Don't self-doubt yourself. Just know you can do it, and I know you can. So, for my 3 tips in regards to streaming that I wish I knew, tip number 1 is do not focus on your numbers too heavily early on. You are allowed to focus on your numbers when streaming has become very much a monetary gain for yourself. Being able to see where you stand, if you're growing, this, that, and the other. However, when you start out, understand it's going to be slow. It's going to have moments of being slow, and do not feel discouraged about that. My focus, and that's one of the biggest things I've done when I first started streaming out, is I disabled my viewer count. I don't know how many viewers are watching me. I don't care how many viewers are watching me, because it's not going to change how I actually portray myself on stream. And that's one of the biggest things you have to understand, is that when you're showcasing your true personality on stream, viewer count does not change who you are. It's the moment you go from 0 viewers and you're doing nothing but just playing a video game, to all of a sudden seeing 10, and you're just talking, "Hi guys, how you doing today? Hope you guys are keeping well. We're doing this, and oh my God, what happened there?" And then you see those viewership disappear, and you're like, and you just go back to silent. It doesn't really showcase who you truly are. When you don't know who and how many are watching you, it should not change how you portray yourself on stream. Hide that viewer count, because when you see no viewers, or 1 viewer, 2 viewer, and you're like, "Oh, this just sucks, I'm not getting viewers," the mentality of like you're not doing well will be there, and it will affect your product. When you don't know how many viewers are watching, you're like, "Hey, I may be having 5, maybe more. Never know. It shouldn't change how I act. Let's just actually talk on stream." Again, very hard to say, very easy to do, or very hard to say, or very easy to say, very hard to do. But in all reality, though, when you hide that viewership, it has changed, and it will benefit you. Trust me when I tell you that, because I've done it myself. My second tip is definite network. The biggest thing is a lot of people anticipate just viewership galore to be pulled out of Santa's bag and put into your chat. I don't know where the mentality of having viewers just come from. You have to understand, you have to make connections in the industry. One of the biggest things I did when I first started streaming is I actually went to individuals' communities that actually shared the same thoughts, shared the same actual wants and opinions I did, and I actually got to know their communities. I got to know people in the communities. What about this person? Who is this person? Let's find out about this. Let's interject in this conversation or be a part of this conversation and give opinions and thoughts and whole caringness. Be empathetic to individuals in the community. Because what happens is that when you're in that community and all of a sudden individuals are starting to recognize and talk to you and be like, oh, hey, it's you. How you doing today? And all of a sudden your little notice or your little profile says, I'm live. This person can be like, hey, I've talked to him several times. Let's go see how he is. Try to find communities that you have an interest in. Obviously, if you have an interest in Dead by Daylight, find communities Dead by Daylight. Find streamers who focus heavily on Dead by Daylight and focus on their communities, because those communities will obviously be surrounded by that game and or the streamer in general. But find dedicated communities to interest of your choices. And also, please make note, social media is extremely important. You being on one social media and having one post a day or one post every 2 days, you're not going to make a big impact there. You have to understand and play the actual social media game. Be interactive. Comment on other people's posts. Be interactive with others. Follow other people. Sometimes, yeah, it can be difficult. Social media alone and networking alone is a second job. It is very time consuming. But if you truly have a dedication and passion in this, create more content for social media, create more content for a different third platform, such as YouTube, TikTok, such as that. Networking is 100% important here. And it's not just networking going into a stream or going into a streamer and say, hey, follow me, I'm streaming now. You're going to completely lose the community right there. You're going to completely get thrown away from that. It's just plain and simple how it is. Do not do that. It is a massive disrespect. One thing I recommend, go onto the Discord, go into the chat. Say, hey, how you doing? How's the game today? Oh my God, what's happening here? What's doing this? Talk, have a conversation. Be a damn adult is what you really want to try to be. Be respectful to the individual the way that you want to be respected as well. In regards to tip number 3, be patient. One of the biggest things is the amount of information we can get within seconds in this world. And the problem I see is a lot of people have a tendency of just focusing on that and just hoping that information comes quick. So viewership comes quick. That fame comes quick. That affiliate comes quick. Partner, quick. It's not going to work that way. There are some who are lucky enough to get an immediate or a very quick rise and being able to identify streaming as a monetary gain. Some of us takes a very long time. I've taken 3 years and I'm just close to averaging 30 viewers. That takes a long time. And it's one of these things where I'm proud of that. Even though it's a slow build, it's a manageable build. And the thing is that I haven't matured my product. People have this thought that the moment they come out with a product, it's going to be perfect. That's exactly what represents them. That's exactly what my product is going to be from here on in. No, it's not. Sometimes that product will take a change. Sometimes you will identify that you have a skill that you weren't even aware of that people prefer watching, and then you're going to focus on that. Allow time to mold you and your product to something that will actually bring a different value to the viewers. That is something that a lot of people do not take in consideration, and patience is definitely one of those. You have to be patient with what you do in life. Some things are accessible to be quick. Majority of the things in real life requires patience around you, and that is something you need to have. Do not feel like you have to rush everything because you see everyone rushing. Trust me when I tell you, a slow growth, a slow manageable growth, a slow growth and molding of your product will help you in the long run, because you're going to be able to slowly identify what works and what doesn't. Whereas a lot of times when you get fame quick, you have a tendency of burning out, and you have a tendency of not identifying what your product is, or you will completely change what your product is, thus losing a lot of support there. And now you're starting from ground zero almost again, because the support that you had previous to this is not exactly what they followed originally. So understand that slow growth is extremely important to you and your product, and just have patience with it. Don't feel discouraged. Like I told you guys during this whole conversation, is that sometimes you can feel extremely discouraged by watching somebody else doing extremely better than you starting at the same time. Trust me, I have seen that. I have experienced that. I've thought those thoughts. It sucks. However, it doesn't mean that it's never going to happen for you. It doesn't mean that there's nothing in the future for you. It doesn't mean that you've just failed immediately and you should stop everything. Again, everyone takes their own roads. Be patient with yours. You may be going through a weird alleyway, taking you some weird guy trying to offer you McDonald's hamburger, and then you're like, I have to surpass this. I have to keep going on because I don't know where the hell it's taking me. But eventually it will take you down a road that you will enjoy, you will really love, and you will focus on. So just understand that patience is key, and specifically in the streaming industry. There is no blueprints in the streaming industry. There is recommendations. There is suggestions. There is things of what to look out for, what to do, how we may help you on social media. But it's, as much as I want to say is, that's going to help you, it's on you to be able to implement those actual steps to take to actually implement those. So it's patience, a lot of work, determination, but I guarantee you, if you have those and you keep going through them, you will see something from it. That's the thing that you need. You will see something from it. It just depends on how much time you want to put into it.
So if you like this very first episode, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And also, if you have any suggestions or any ideas about our next conversations, make sure to comment them. See you on the next episode. Until then, keep up the good work.